Hello, and welcome to Rain's Cryptids, Myths, and Folklore. I'm your host, Rain, and today we are going to learn what we can about this cryptid. So let's begin. And today we're going to learn about black-eyed children. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that I will be taking a month off. I wish to improve my videos, information, and the theories I have on them. I plan to revisit some and have a few that I want some extra research on coming up when I return, like the werewolves and Dogman. I hope you stick around. Now, let's get to know about these black-eyed children. Black-eyed children, or black-eyed beings, are human-looking beings with pure black eyes. No whites in the eyes whatsoever, sometimes looking like a black void even. They will approach you either at your home or car. In most of these cases, there are 1 or 2 children around the age 10 or 11, but there are some cases of them being teenagers. Most ask to be let in or to give me a ride, and very demanding about it. It is said that they have a very dry personality until they are denied entry. Then they can get extremely angry when denied, but not always. Now, they must have permission for entry. They cannot just come in. One case reported a black-eyed girl was denied entry, and she tried to enter. It was like a force field stopped her, all because she didn't have permission. Some say they can be dressed poorly, sometimes even sickly looking, or no shoes in the sort. The people that come in contact with these black-eyed children have an intense feeling of dread or fear, often kicking in their fight and their flight sensations at the same time. It's heard that some just watch you and then even follow you when it comes to the vehicle side of it. Ones that have let them in all end up with illnesses, things like nosebleeds, cancer, and the sort. Okay, so what I can tell, they are wanting something, but what, I'm not sure yet. As stated before, the ones that have let them in became seriously ill. I believe they know their auras are toxic and use it for whatever purpose. I'm not sure yet, but it seems to be like toxic radiation or causing a radiation sickness from the exposure to them. In some of the sighting stories I have read, they seem to not like cats either. They either avoid or kill them. Some cats just disappear. Another thing I noticed is they are picking people specifically for their targets, with the exception of coming near Halloween when the veil is at its thinnest. The reports of them seem to pick up during this time. Maybe how they choose is if you can see them. Of course, in some sightings, friends that come into the picture seem to see them too, but they still only go for the first person. So I'm still working on this one. They are mind readers and possibly speak to each other through mind link. Many stories tell of them reading someone's mind. For instance, one said they were holding pepper spray in their purse, and they told her she didn't need the pepper spray. Of course, that is just one of many. I am pretty sure they go way back, but if you think of the times, let's say you tell someone you saw a black-eyed being. What they would probably say was you were possessed by the devil, or the devil is attacking you, even worse, accusing you of devil worshipping. So I am sure it would be hard to actually trace that far back, but I do have at least the 1950s. I really do think they go back even further. I am still researching to find those sightings, and I will do a part 2. These black-eyed beings are truly a mystery for their reasons being here. Some believe they are demons possessing, but I don't believe this. If anything, they are in their own skins. It's even thought that maybe they are vampires, but I have heard stories of vampires, and it's not the same. Also, some have seen adults actually with these children. Most haven't, but it's not to be counted out. For now, I will leave this here with some sighting stories. 1950s. A 16-year-old was walking up the street to his house in Virginia when he noticed a boy leaning on a fence nearby. The 16-year-old said hello, but received no response. So the 16-year-old turned to leave when the boy said, "I want to go to your house. You're going to take me to your house." That's when the 16-year-old noticed the boy's eyes. They were pitch black. Everything in the 16-year-old screamed, "Run!" Yet he stood there. As if reading his mind, the boy says, "Now, don't you run away from me. You're going to walk me up to your house." That was enough to get the teenager to get out of there. He ran as fast as he could. The teenager claimed he could hear the boy scream like a bobcat. The teenager chose not to look back. He told his parents, and they believed him. The father went looking, but never found the boy. Story 2. A gas station attendant in Louisiana in 2012. It was 3 a.m. and the power went out. Using his cell phone as his flashlight, the attendant was able to get the generator going. The only thing is the generator only lit up certain areas, like the cash area and the parking lot. The rest was cloaked in darkness. Out in that darkness, he noticed movement. 3 children on bikes heading his way. Once in front, they stood there staring at the attendant. It actually creeped him out, especially given how late it was. But since they were just kids, he went to the door and opened it and asked if they were okay. The young girl asked to use the phone, but as he was handing his cell phone, he realized her eyes were all black. "No, I need the real one." She pointed at the landline inside. The thought of letting her inside sent chills up his spine. He shouted at all of them to leave as he slammed and locked the door. The children stood there a bit longer, just staring at him through the glass with solid black eyes. Then they got back on their bikes and disappeared back into the night. That morning, the attendant went through the security footage only to find nothing, as the power outage caused the cameras to be off, and they didn't reboot when the generator was kicked on, so he had no evidence of them being there. Story 3. Now, this is a story where they did let them in. 2016, in Vermont. A blizzard was happening at this time when a knock came at their door. Figuring someone crashed their car trying to navigate the blizzard, she made her way to the door, peeking out the window. There was no car, and she described the feeling of dread washing over her for reasons she didn't understand. The hard knock continued, so she decided to wake her husband to let him answer instead. 2 small children were on the other side of the door. They were not dressed well for this blizzard. The woman and her husband let the boy and girl inside, even with the unease of their presence, and regretting it almost instantly. Out of the couple's 4 cats, 1 hissed, while the other 3 hid, which was unusual behavior for the cats. The woman asked if they wanted some hot cocoa along with the standard, "What happened? Are you lost?" But the only answer was, "Our parents will be here soon." She made them the cocoa anyways, and when she brought the mugs in for the children, that's when she noticed their eyes, jet black with no white. They asked to use the bathroom, and she directed them to it. Then everything happened at once. Her husband's nose started to bleed. The power went out, and so she rushed to get him a tissue when she was confronted by both children staring at her in the hall. "Our parents are here." They then walked out the front door. She watched the creepy children get into a black car with 2 very tall men in suits and drive off. Within months of the encounter, 3 of the 4 cats went missing, and the one that hissed died of a hemorrhage. Her husband's nosebleeds continued, and he was eventually diagnosed with skin cancer. Despite spending little time outdoors, the woman began having nosebleeds, and her health slowly deteriorated. They both believe it was caused by the black-eyed children. So there you have 3 stories of the black-eyed children. I'm still going to research them, and we'll have more sightings in part 2. That's what I have so far on the black-eyed children. Please like and subscribe. Share as well. And if you have a sighting that you would like to share, please email me. My email is in the descriptions below. All that I share on video will be done anonymously. Also, if you have a cryptid that you would like for me to do a video on, please leave a comment or email me. Now, it's time for Superstition for Thought. And today's thought is lunacy on the full moon. Myths surrounding the full moon are as old as time. For centuries, it's been believed that the lunar phase can affect everything from people's state of mind to crime rates. Most think it's a bit out there, but some studies have shown that the full moon can cause weird things to happen. Of course, most is considered weird only because we have been taught that way rather than being taught it's part of nature or even the energies that be. I mean, they say the moon doesn't affect us like it does the tides because the gravitational effects of the moon are far too minuscule to generate any meaningful effect on brain activity, let alone on behavior. Except they forgot that when there is a full moon, the sun and earth, along with the moon, are lined up where the sun could be helping with the gravitational pull. I mean, we are 80% water. So, they also don't get the full reason that everything has energies and there might be a reason with it. Maybe it is stronger on a full moon. I mean, we do like charging crystals in the full moon. Okay, so there are many things that they say the full moon can cause. Like your dog has a 28% more chance of having to go to the ER than any other time. Of course, the tides are affected. Women's monthlies may stay close to the full moon. Birth rates increase on full moons, and this one also has evidence backing it. More crime may be committed during this time. Your sleep can be affected as well. Everyone's moods can change. Surgery results can be slightly better. Sea turtles prefer to lay their eggs on full moons. Plants grow better if planted by the light of the full moon. Coral seems to produce better during a full moon as well. Now, most are not backed by very much in scientific studies, but I find they are also backed by their funders. So I only have somewhat trust in what they say, but I do know the things I have felt or seen myself. With that, I believe the beautiful moon does have an effect on a lot. So howl at the moon and smile at her, and maybe she will take it easy on you during her shining moment. And that's what I have for this superstition for thought. Thank you for joining me for this cryptid journey. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week.